what I did find was that I could go to a plasma bank and donate my blood plasma twice a week. So that's exactly what I did. I made $240 and my rent was $240 exactly.
You're listening to Financial Grownup with me, certified financial planner Bobbi Rebell, author of How to Be a Financial Grownup. And you know what? Being a grownup is really hard, especially when it comes to money. But it's okay. We're going to get there together. I'm going to bring you one money story from a financial grownup, one lesson, and then my take on how you can make it your own. We got this. Hey grownups, if you are like me, you love to read, but if we're being honest, it doesn't happen. The time just flies and the intention does not become reality. So do what I do. Get the intel you want in a way that matches your schedule. I recently started using the Blinkist app and I love it. It puts the content of books that you want to read into powerful summaries called blinks, usually just a minute at a time. A whole book can be 15 minutes-ish, just like this podcast, right on your favorite device. Text or audio, totally fits your lifestyle. I am obsessed. Go to bobbirebell.com/Blinkist for a free trial and to support the show. We are going to be talking about resourcefulness on this episode of the Financial Grownup Podcast because our guest, Bethany Bayless of the Money Millhouse podcast, had to be extremely resourceful and giving, literally, when she went to college in order to be the financial grownup that she wanted to be. First, I want to just welcome everyone, especially our new listeners. We're so glad that you found us, and thank you for investing your time. We appreciate it. This podcast is free to you. We intend to always keep it free to you. So it would mean the world to me and to my team if you would support the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And also go old school and just tell a few friends about the podcast. Now to Bethany. In addition to her duties co-hosting the Money Millhouse podcast with her mom, Ellie Kay, Bethany is also the MC of a big conference that many money content creators attend called FinCon. During the conference, they hand out the Plutus Awards, which recognize the best money-related content, everything from blogs to freelance writers, authors of new money books, and yes, podcasts. And we have some news to announce on that front after the interview. In the meantime, here is the ever-charming Bethany Bayless. Hey, Bethany Bayless, you're a financial grown-up. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Bobbi. Thank you so much for having me here.
I am excited to talk to you. First of all, you're a great speaker. You actually do a lot of public speaking. You're the MC of many events, including a conference I attended called FinCon, where you do a great job MCing that event. You are also the host of The Money Millhouse with your mom, Ellie Kay, one of my favorite podcasts.
Yes, I do it with my mom. It's a lot of fun. If you want to have a cup of coffee and join us, we're there every Monday just chatting about finances. And we think we're funny. Like we think each other is funny.
You are so funny. And in fact, you have a funny story you're going to share after your money story, which is an awesome money story because it has to do with literally giving blood to be a financial grown-up. You wanted it so bad, Bethany. Tell us your money story.
Absolutely. When I graduated high school, I went off to college. And as a grown up, I just turned 18 and I went to a college that was very small and it was in a town of 6 other colleges. So we were lots and lots of college
What
students.
town?
It was Spokane, Washington. And in Spokane, I mean, there's Gonzaga University, Eastern Washington, like all these big universities. And so there just were not a lot of jobs for college students there. It was very, very saturated. And so I was very adamant that I wanted to pay my own rent.
And you are, by the way, one of 5 children.
That's correct. I am the only girl also, I just might add. And so I didn't want to ask my parents for money because I'm an adult and that's what adults do is you make your own money. You pay your own rent and utilities and food and all of those things. And so what I did find was that I could go to a plasma bank and donate my blood plasma twice a week. So that's exactly what I did. I made $240 and my rent was $240 exactly.
Oh my God. Talk about using your God-given resources, Bethany.
Not only exactly, and I also think isn't the house rent supposed to be like 25% of your income? It was about 100, and so definitely a lesson learned there. I had to do some other little things here and there, and this was before Side Hustle Nation, this was before Uber, before Instacart or something else that I could do to earn money. And so this was like the side hustle app of the age, if you will. And I just learned very, very quickly how much money was worth. And even a quarter was like the world to me. It was like a chunk right there. And it was a great experience because I learned to be frugal. I learned to cut back and I learned to know exactly what I needed. And it was a time that I had zero once.
By the way, I used to give blood plasma a lot. My mother was sick at a point, and that was something I was a regular there.
Mm.
And one thing that I did learn was that they also feed you there, Bethany.
Yes.
So in addition to the money, you did get meals, right?
Yeah. So basically, the way that plasma works for people who are not familiar with this process, and we will be talking about blood. Just give that disclaimer very quickly. What they do is they hook you up to a machine. They take out a certain amount. They put it in
And it
like
takes a while. It takes
it
a
does.
while. It's
Yes.
a process. This isn't just donating blood. This is a different kind of thing.
Totally different because what they do is they put it in like there's a word for it. They put it in a machine where it separates it. So they spin it really, really fast and it separates the platelets with the white blood cells with the red blood cells and like your hemoglobin or whatever. And then they give you back your red blood cells.
And it takes about an hour sometimes. It depends how on your blood pressure, believe it or not. But depending, because I had low blood pressure, and sometimes I would not even qualify because you have to be at a certain level,
Yes.
which makes it a very special thing. People really should donate if you do qualify. It's an important thing to do, I should say. But you are there for quite a while.
It is, and I would be there sometimes because you had to go in the waiting room first, right? You have to
Right.
wait to
It's
get
set up for
in
you.
to give your blood, and you have to go through this process, and so it was a chunk of time, but it was exactly what I needed. I went twice a week. I became friends with Rick, who was the guy who every single week I would go to him. We became friends. He had the bedside manner of House. Like very dry, sarcastic, kind of hated the world, but he called me sunshine. And it was a great experience for me to kind of really do it on my own, to do it myself. And I thought, why not? It was the epitome of my desperation, pretty much.
But also, it is a giving thing to do, and I think it's
Mhm.
wonderful that you did that because even though that wasn't your primary motivation at the time, and I think it's important that people understand that, and that if they are eligible and can do that, it is great to donate plasma.
Absolutely. I was a universal donor. So everyone, my blood type is the rarest blood type. I'm AB negative for anyone who wanted to know. We're finding out so much about each other in this
So much.
conversation. But I'm AB negative and it is the universal plasma donor. So anyone could take my plasma.
That's wonderful. And you didn't mention what was your favorite snack when you're done because they did feed you, so you got food and money.
Yes, food and money, and I really loved the little cookies. They had like
Okay.
little chocolate chip cookies, like kind of like knockoff Famous Amos.
Yum. And did they have orange juice too?
Yes, and apple juice, I believe.
Good. What's
Yeah.
the lesson for our listeners from this?
The lesson is to do whatever it takes to get by and to be a financial grown up.
Within what is legal and what is reasonable. We need to qualify
Absolutely.
that, Bethany, my darling.
Also
That came
caveat.
off a little bit too much.
Do anything that was legal. Should I say that again, Bobby?
Well, I don't know that people should, for example, donate a kidney, that kind of thing. I think that,
Oh,
things like plasma and things like that are good, but not actual body parts.
a kidney or
We want to be clear.
another controversial is donating things like eggs.
Yes.
That could have set me up for the entire year, but,
Well,
interesting.
it's a personal decision. Just be thoughtful about what body parts and things that you give from yourself.
So many images are flashing through my head right now.
Quite the episode of Financial Grown Up.
Black
All right. You know
market.
what? We're going to call it there and we're going to move on to your everyday money tip because this is a little bit of a lighter topic. You have some apps where we can earn extra cash. You got a nice list going. We'll put them in the show notes also. Go for
Yeah.
it.
So, and like I said in my story, this was the time when I gave plasma as my last option. It was a time that these apps did not exist. It was not the age of the side hustle, but now I feel like financial grown-ups have so many options because you can cut back. There's a limit to how much you can cut back in your budget. There's a limit to how many you can limit your expenses, and
And
what
you can only give plasma twice a week.
you can only give plasma twice a week. But the other thing is that you don't have to limit your income. That is something that there's no limit to the amount of money that you can make. And one of the things that you can do is there are a list of apps, things that we've talked about, like Uber or Airbnb or things like that. Those are already very well known, but other things like Instacart, maybe you want to go grocery shopping for people and you can do it in your spare time. You can pick up times where you just go grocery shopping. It's a great tool to use. I love getting it. I love getting my groceries delivered. And so if you want to
But
shop
you
for
could
other
also be
people,
the person delivering the groceries. So we want to be
exactly.
clear. For all of these, you're not the person getting in the Uber. You're the one driving the
That's
Uber. That's where the
exactly right.
income comes.
Exactly. So we have Instacart, we have Etsy. Maybe it's time to make things online. There's also some other really great ones like Rover is a dog walking app. So if you want to go hang out with dogs for a day, why don't you download Rover and you're able to go. You can even teach your kids about being responsible and take them along with you now that you're a financial grown up if you have children. And those are some of my favorite apps that you can use.
I love that list. We'll leave the full list in the show notes. Let's talk a little bit about the Money Millhouse because we teased everybody about your funny story. There are so many. You guys are hysterical. By the way, I have been a guest on the Money Millhouse. It is a really fun place to hang out, I got to say.
Well, and we loved having you because it's a great time for us to just sit around. We have it in the Money Mill house. It's set at Ellie's kitchen table. Ellie is my mother. And we started the podcast as a way for us to have a source of time with each other and also to learn about personal finances, which we're both very passionate about. Every single week, we sit down, we have a cup of coffee, and this is a little unknown story. And so we used the podcast as a way to let people know we were mother daughter. So we worked together for several years. We went and taught financial education to military families around the world, literally. And we realized very quickly when I started working for her, we realized that when people found out I was her daughter, their attitude changed towards me. So they would treat me like I was 18 and be like, that is so cute. Your mom lets you help her when it comes. That's adorable. Can you get me a cup of coffee? Like just little things like that, that were like, wow, this is really difficult to be professional when it comes to what we're doing. So we just actually hid it for about 5 years. We just didn't tell people. It was a
On
big
purpose.
secret on purpose. 100%. I changed my last name. I just went with my middle name instead of my actual last name. And for years, it worked really well for us. But then it kind of got to the point where it's like, why are we keeping this a secret anymore? I feel like we're more established in what we're doing. And so came out on our podcast that we are mother daughter. That's really where the fun lies because we think we have a great relationship. So we had a guest come on who knew us from our past life. And I just saw her yesterday and I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell my mom that I saw you. And she was like, you mean you and Ellie are actually related? I thought that was something that you did as a joke for the podcast.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I was like, what?
What?
Yes, we are totally related. It's a true, we are not like, so it was the first time that it almost not backfired, but it was a happy surprise of, she said, when I met you the very first time, you were so professional. I thought there was no way you could be related because I couldn't work with a family member like that. And so it was just so happy that she thought it was a joke.
I love listening to the Money Mill House. Tell us more about where we can find it and find out also more about you and whatever new ventures you are up to because you're always up to so many cool things, Bethany.
Bobby, you're so nice. You think I'm way more important than I actually am. I think. I don't know. Should I say that? Um,
I'm in the Bethany Fangirl Club.
you're so wonderful. I'm in the Bobby Fangirl Club.
Aw.
And people can find us at The Money Millhouse. We're on anywhere you can get your podcast. TheMoneyMillhouse.com is where our hub is. We're also all across social media at The Money Millhouse. And if you want to follow me personally, you can go to BethanyBayless.org or you can follow me at Bethany Bayless across all social media platforms. Instagram's my favorite though. Instagram's where I hang out most.
I am migrating to Instagram the most I find myself. It's because you know what? It's a happy place.
It is such a happy place, and I think my favorite feature is the stories because I kinda like to share my really random crazy life with my friends.
So fun. All right. Thank you, Bethany.
Awesome, thanks, Bobby.
Before we get to my take on the interview, I just want to share one of my secrets with you guys and some big news. As you know, I read a ton of books and I love it. But between running my business and all my family stuff, I don't have the time to read all the books that I want. And the book piles on my nightstand have been getting bigger and bigger because I intend to read them, but it just isn't happening. So then recently, I discovered Blinkist. It's an app. It takes all the nonfiction books that I want to read, from classic business books to, if we're being honest, books by some of my current top authors that have been here on the podcast. It pulls out all the main points that matter into what they call blinks. They're about a minute long, entire books, 15 minutes, kind of like this podcast. Maybe they were listening to me. I don't know. Anyway, I reached out to them and I am so excited that they are now a partner of the Financial Grownup podcast. So please take a minute and go to bobbyrebell.com/Blinkist for a free trial. By using the link, this is really important. You help to support the show. So thank you. Go to bobbyrebell.com/Blinkist. Let's do this. Financial Grownup tip number 1, donate blood. And if you can, donate plasma. And yes, you could potentially make money if you want. And yes, they will probably also give you free food. You will also potentially get a free medical exam the first time that you go if you're donating plasma. But the truth is, this stuff is priceless and saves lives. So you are really giving a lot more than you realize. So I truly encourage everyone to do this. Also, find out while you're there what blood type you are, or if you just want to know in general, you can just call and you can probably ask your doctor to look it up on your chart. Financial Grownup tip number 2. If you do take on a bunch of different side hustles on a slew of different apps, as Bethany had suggested, make sure to keep records of what you are doing so that when it comes to tax time, you have what you need. Before we wrap, I do have some exciting news to share. This podcast, Financial Grownup, has been nominated and is a finalist in not one, but 2 big Plutus Award categories. Financial Grownup is a finalist for Podcast of the Year. That is a big one. I'm super excited about it. Then, as if it couldn't get any better, Financial Grownup is also a finalist for Best Investing Podcast. Plus, my new podcast with Joe Saul-Sehy of the Stacking Benjamins podcast, Money with Friends, which I hope you guys are also subscribed to, is a finalist for Best New Podcast. And I also want to offer a congratulations to Joe because Stacking Benjamins is a finalist for Best Investing Podcast as well. Thanks to all of you for your support. Please continue to be in touch on the socials and tell us what guests or what topics you want to hear on the show. At BobbyRebell1 on Instagram and at BobbyRebell on Twitter. And the biggest thanks and a big virtual hug to the Money Millhouse's Bethany Bayless for helping us all be financial grown-ups. Financial Grownup with Bobby Rebell is edited and produced by Steve Stewart and is a BRK Media production.